Happy Thursday, happy cocktails by design. It's hot out there and we are sipping a cool cocktail. I'm just logging on to my iPad, so if you have any questions tonight, we would love to hear from you. So there we go. I'm sipping tonight a great mix. It's Coalition Kentucky Straight Rye Whiskey, which comes in this beautiful bottle that looks like a perfume bottle. It looks like a Shalimar or something. And I'm pairing it with Owen's Craft mixers. This is grapefruit and lime. And maybe it's heresy to mix a nice rye whiskey with a mixer, but I think it's great. The taste of grapefruit with the rye is amazing. And these companies have not paid me, but they're sponsoring. They send me lovely bottles. And we're talking about on Cocktails by Design. This the rye whiskey is aged in Margaux barrel, so it has a really wonderful flavor. And Owen's Craft Mixers, you can find these at Publix, you can find them at Owen's Mixers on Instagram, and they have amazing flavors, and they're just terrific. You just add some vodka, or they have a great margarita mix that you add some tequila to, and that's terrific. But more importantly tonight, we have Lisa Mende, who's going to be joining us in a few minutes. Lisa is based in Charlotte, and we've known each other now for about, John and I met her about 8 years ago. We were doing a show house together with Traditional Home in Greensboro, and it was the Junior League of Greensboro, and it was an amazing home. It was called Adamsley, and it was built in the 1920s, late 1920s. And Lisa was doing an amazing room, and we became good friends through that. I think we had originally met through Facebook. When I was on the Facebook. I don't use Facebook anymore, but Lisa's such a talent, and we've actually done 2 show houses together. We did Adamsley, and that house has actually been torn down, which is very sad. But a couple of years later, Lisa did an incredible kitchen when we did the Traditional Home show house in High Point, and that was something that John and I came up with an idea, and we kind of corralled the Junior League of High Point, and we then got Traditional Home aboard. So Lisa did an incredible kitchen, which got a lot of great play, as it should have. So that's kind of where we are. Lisa will be joining us in a minute. And just bringing you up to speed, we're in my office here at the HQ, and I'm in charge of kind of making noise, marketing, working with John, social media, all those kind of things. So this is where all of that, quote unquote, magic happens. And we have lots of good things happening. We got some of our new tile samples today. We're doing a line with Country Floors that's launching this fall. And we got some of our green colors from the mill in the factory in Turkey. So those arrived today. We have beautiful pinks, there are beautiful pale blues, there are rich blues, but the greens came today. The greens weren't quite right. And so those came today, and we really love how those turned out. Beautiful quality. Again, this is Country Floors, so they make really an exceptional product. So those will be coming out in the fall. Someone said they like the fish above my head. My parents went to Mexico when I was a little boy and brought that paper mache fish home with them, and that fish lived in our kitchen in my little home in Tampa, Florida when I was a little boy. And when my parents moved, they gave me the fish, and it has joined us now in our offices here in High Point. Other things we have going on, we are launching a line. We are launching a collection with Barrington Gifts. So I hope you know Barrington Gifts on Instagram. They have incredible tote bags and computer cases and pouches. So we're launching 2 patterns with them. We are launching our Mocambo and then Burst into Bloom, which is a new pattern that we've just come up with. And you can do all sorts of amazing monograms with them. So this is for John's mom, whose name is Marlene Georgette Lucky. So there you go. You got the racing stripe on this one on John's computer case with Mocambo, and Burst into Bloom, that oversized, very Goyard-like mix of the initials. So be sure to follow Barrington Gifts, and that line will be launching early fall, and we'll tell you more about that and maybe give you an opportunity to win one of our bags. But those are the first 2 patterns that are going into that, and there will be several other launching in the spring. So let's welcome Lisa Mende into the mix. She's going to be offering us tips on one of her favorite cocktails, and wait to see what she has going on this summer. Lisa, welcome aboard. Good to have you.
Hey, Jason.
Happy Thursday.
Am I
There you are,
on?
looking great. Look at those great glasses.
Can you see me?
You look great. We can see kind of from your head, from your chin up, but you look good. There you go. Much better. You look relaxed. I like the glasses.
Oh, well, you have to have the glasses now.
All right.
Here, I'm.
What are you drinking? Cheers. What are you drinking this evening? Tell us what you've got on offer.
Ah, this is what I have. It's my favorite drink. When I was in Madrid, I went to the gin bars and they had English distilled gins. And my favorite was Brockman's. It's a raspberry gin. I actually sent you a bottle that you'll be receiving.
Look at that
And
beautiful cocktail. That looks Lisa. Yeah, and Lisa is our first guest to send me gifts. So unfortunately, the amazing gin she is mentioning is in her cocktail. She's coming tomorrow, but she has also so generously sent us these beautiful Spiegelau gin and tonic glasses. So thank you, Lisa. It looks much better your cocktail looks much better crafted. So tell us, so you were in Madrid and you discovered this gin, and what makes it so it's raspberry flavored?
well, what's so great about it is they infuse it with like the Brockmans. They put all kinds of fruit in it, but they also had a gin called Monkey 47, which I also love. And my Brockmans isn't here yet, so I'm actually having Monkey 47 tonight.
Well, anything
And
named Monkey must be marvelous, right?
well, what was so great about the monkey was I didn't do this with mine, but they put cucumber and basil in it.
Mm.
And it's just really refreshing in the summer when it's so hot out.
That's so nice. That sounds wonderful. And where are you? What a beautiful location. I love the plaid background behind you. Are you at your mom and dad's? Are you at the beach? Where are you?
I'm at the beach, but my beach house is a little hovel, so and a lot of activity, and everybody's in and out. So I snuck over to my parents' house. They're not here, and I'm in their master bedroom. So
Perfect. Good. Well, it looks great. You've really been working on tell us about your beach house, and it seems like you've been really working on it this summer. And so
no, I've
give us
been working on projects down here. I haven't been working on my own house.
Okay.
So because of COVID, an install that normally would take a few days has taken a couple of months because the furniture is trickling in. And so since the clients aren't here, I've tried to be here. I mean, they've been here back and forth, but I've tried to be here to accept deliveries and get everything the way I wanted it. And one week chairs come and the next week bedroom furniture comes. It's just been kind of sporadic. So.
When foam arrives, another piece of furniture.
Yeah.
Shows up.
Yeah. It's been a little crazy.
Tell us about this project.
It's a second home for my clients, and I have worked for them for, gosh, probably 15 years. I did their main house in Charlotte, and we did two other houses down here they developed, and they actually bought a piece of property that was the old Topsail Motel, and they raised the motel and created lots, oceanfront lots. And so to date, we've developed 3 of those properties, and this is one of those they decided to keep for their own.
Oh, what a fun project.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And are most of your clients people that you've worked with for a long time?
Right, many. I mean, I've had a lot of new clients in the last few years, but I have a lot of repeat clients. I have clients that I've worked with for years, and they just call me when they buy new property or they want to update. So I do that, but I've gotten some clients off Instagram. I have just a few, but some. And then mostly referrals. That's where I get most of my clients.
So I'm sure everyone is, but if you're not following Lisa Mende Design, skip on over and be sure to follow her. Lisa has an amazing community and really has supported some incredible people over the years, and it's just so much fun. So Lisa, tell us about the process when someone comes to you and wants to work with you. What is that? How do you bring the beautiful designs that you create together? Walk us a little bit through about how that process happens.
Well, the first thing that happens is I meet with them and I tell them it's my way or the highway. No, not really.
I think Carlton Barney does tell them people that. Yes, I think that was how it used to work.
My husband says that's how I
Damn.
am, because he says you're getting crotchety. You think everybody, wants to do what you want to do, but no, that's not true. I think what happens, Jason, is when I meet with someone and I learn about their project, all of a sudden in my head I start formulating what I want this project to look like. I can't help it. It just kind of starts growing in my head. And so my job then becomes to listen to their needs and what they need and want, and all of that together. So initially I meet with the clients. We talk about the scope of the project. Then I send them back a quick follow up and reverberate everything that we have talked about. I mean, I just go through the laundry list to make sure that I heard them and to make sure that we're all on the same page. And then, depending on the scope of the project, I write up the proposal and they agree. And then we get started. And the first meeting is a continuation of our original meeting. We might have a fabric wallpaper meeting after that, and then it takes me a bit, and I come back with a presentation that I present to them.
And what does that presentation look like, Lisa?
It looks like different things with different people. It depends on the client. Some clients want full renderings. Other clients are happy with not having renderings. I like to do renderings, but clients aren't always wanting to go to that extent. Some people are very trusting, and I can lay it out such that, and I'll do mood boards and things like that if I don't do renderings, and trays with fabrics and finishes and, all the good stuff. So.
But it's that idea of showing the client, you have to show somebody who's perhaps not visual how it's all going to come together, so that you can create that storyline.
Yeah, and Jason, the one thing that I've learned is if someone comes to me and they say, I'm not traditional, I want a transitional house. And like when I was a young designer, I just assumed they, weren't the right client for me, because my designs are based in tradition. I like an updated, that old everybody's traditional with a twist. But then I started asking them, show me what you consider transitional. And I often found that what they were calling something was not what it was.
Mm-hmm, sure.
And so in the interview process, I always ask them to bring along anything that they can show me that represents kind of their style or what they're going for, so that helps a lot, I think, as well.
What has the process changed for you very much in the last, was it a very different game for you 15 years ago, let's say, when you first started working with that client versus?
Oh my gosh. It was 23 years ago.
23 years ago. Okay.
When I had my very first client. And, when my senior year of design school, I worked for a local kitchen, bath, and home office designer firm in Charlotte. And when I went to work for her, one of my first projects was working on an NFL coach's house. And it was a really interesting project, but it taught me a lot, but I was so intimidated at first. And one day I showed up on the job, and his wife was so funny. She had a poster on the front door, and it had the contractor's face on it, and it said wanted, dead or alive. And, and I thought, I can work for these people. They're fun,
They're fun.
Yeah.
Right.
So out of the gate, I was thrown into pretty big projects. And so working for luxury design in that field way back when, people just didn't question things like they do now. And they didn't bring you Pinterest photos, and I'm not saying that's bad. I like Pinterest photos.
It's a completely different landscape.
But it's so different now. If the person hired you, they hired you not because of social media, because we didn't have social media. They had been in a client's house and seen my work and they liked it. So they hired me and trusted me. And the process that we go through now is so different. And I said recently on my Instagram, some friends were building a house. And so I asked about it. And she proceeded to tell me that the little girl's room was going to look like Joanna Gaines's little girl's room. And, it was like everything was a mimic. And I thought, that's sad because
Yeah.
you're not designing for your family. You're copying what someone else did for their family. And maybe you can be just as happy in that house. But knowing that child, I would have created something entirely special for her,
And do you think that that's a result of HGTV? Is that a social media? Is it a mix of all those kind of things come together?
I do. And I think people now think that when they watch HGTV or they look at Pinterest, sure, it's easy to copy, like that black kitchen I did in 2015 with the white subway tile. I had a lot of designers that said that clients would bring the magazine pictures of that kitchen and say, this is the kitchen I want. And the designer would say, well, this is a good kitchen, but let's do it for you. Let's don't
Right.
mimic that. Let's create something fresh that's even better for you.
I
And
don't know. I think that all those years when everyone had a Jennifer Aniston haircut, regardless of whether it fit you or not,
yeah, and it was bad.
it was
You know,
bad.
I remember one time I went to the hairdresser and I said, I want this haircut. And I don't remember whose it was, but it was somebody famous. And she said, well, first you have to get that face and then you can have that hair.
I don't know. I think you look like Linda Evangelista.
Really? Aw, I've gotten Sharon Stone before. I don't know. But anyway, I do think that you have to tailor things for you specifically. And if you don't, you're missing out on something that could make you extremely happy.
Do you think that we're educating consumers to know the value that interior designers bring to the table?
I think that's hard right now. I think that we are trying really hard to do that. But I think that we're maybe COVID has slowed things down a bit and people will stop and evaluate, because I do think since COVID happened, people are returning to realizing how important the home is. So they are trying harder to create havens at home. And I think that's one reason designers have been so slammed, because people are beginning to realize more the value because they're spending more time in their homes.
And I think to your point, I think that people are starting to realize that homes should feel like them, not these cookie cutters where, if I see one more white brick house with black, black, fixtures based on that kind of magnolia, that idea that there's so many kind of tropes now that have just kind of become the vernacular. And I think that people are realizing that they want to feel special, that they want homes that feel, to your point, feel tailored to them. So
Yeah.
there is a silver lining in all of this. Granted, you can't get any furniture for 16 weeks. Now,
Or 20.
but,
But I think 5 years from now, people are going to be ripping out all that black and white. They're going to be so bored with it. And I there's a place for it. There is, but not every house needs to have black metal windows or
but you think about, right, I think it's, and I think you and I are on the same page. It's always about being on trend, but never being trendy.
right.
And, I think perhaps when you and I were kids and our parents had avocado green kitchens with orange appliances, and I'm curious where that trend came from. Did that come from, the Brady Bunch, or did it come from magazines? And so it's interesting to see, or fast forward to the 80s. Was it Angelo Dongia, or what were the moments that kind of, channeled our design choices in the 80s, and what makes something become. I think obviously social media now and television, but I'm just curious, going back 30 years, how those trends. I'm just kind of pontificating how those trends. Why did everybody have a avocado green kitchen?
Or a plaid Herculon sofa.
There you go. I miss Naga Hive, Lisa Mende.
Oh my gosh. Well, you might be getting it back.
Tell us about some of the other. Are you doing projects more far flung, or are you doing pretty much things in between the beach and Charlotte right now?
I'm kind of in North Carolina right now.
Uh-huh.
I'm working on another house that we've been working on, which my client probably right now would say, "You're working on it good, because where are you?" But we're in that process right now of waiting for the drapery and the final parts of the house, which take a little more time. And but that project is a pretty large home, and it's in eastern North Carolina, and it's a young family, husband, wife, 2 kids, new dog, and it's going to be a beautiful project when we're finished. We've done a lot of really unique uh, things in the house, so I'm excited about that. But we've been working on that project for over 2 years now.
2 years.
Yeah.
And when you go into a house like that, do you do what kind of the big install, or do you piecemeal it a bit?
Normally I do a big install, but with this house and with COVID, it wasn't that way. And that house is a rather large house, so it was kind of in layers. We took some of the furnishings that they had, and everything went in storage, because basically the house went down to studs. And it's quite a difference with how the house originally looked, and basically doubled the square footage of the house.
Wow.
So it's it really has turned out beautifully.
And when do you see that wrapping up?
Well, they're in the house,
Okay.
but we have drapery coming the end of August, and we still have other things that we need to do. But Bill Baker, the architect from Atlanta, designed the renovation, and he did a beautiful job, beautiful moldings. They didn't want the house to be too formal. They wanted it to feel casual when you entered. So we did things like wooden grid floors with travertine, and the wallpaper in the dining room is a Susan Harder paper, and it's just beautiful. I mean, the whole
Nice,
thing.
nice, nice,
I'm
nice.
excited. I can't wait to share it.
Will that be? Are you going to try and get that published in a magazine, or do you have
I have
a
someone
rollout plan?
interested. I've already had someone ask me to send them pictures of the house. They're interested in it. Um, Ironically, I want to shoot the house twice. I want to shoot it decorated for the holidays, and I want to shoot it undecorated, because I think that house deserves the attention. So I
I
want
love
to,
that.
yeah.
You know, Lisa, going back, you mentioned the architect. When you do projects, do you often kind of have that triumvirate of yourself, the interior designer, the architect, and the landscape architect, or do you find that those things, or perhaps the architect, do you often come together, and so there's a very cohesive vision, or do you also find that more piecemeal?
It depends on the project. With this project, because Bill was in Atlanta and I was in North Carolina, and the homeowners had worked with him, and they had worked with him for a while to get the plans the way they wanted them, and I had talked back and forth with them, but I honestly didn't get that involved until the plans were closer to being finished with this particular project. But I'm working on a project in Charlotte right now with the architect, and I'm in on the very beginning, and he and I are going to meet and work on, everything together. So it just depends on the project.
And tell me about your this. Someone comes to you, and what is your USP? What is your unique selling point? Like working with Lisa Mende Design, how would you kind of characterize? I'm not going to try to get too pie in the sky, but I think I'm going to give you, for instance, I think if you work with Madcap Cottage, like you said, we could do traditional. We love doing Art Deco. We've done modern. But I think what we do is we are going to push your prints and patterns. So if it's very modern, that's great, but we're going to challenge you and say, let's bring some prints and pattern and color, and it's not going to be a beige house. How would you kind of characterize the Lisa Mende brand experience in terms of, obviously you're delivering exceptional customer service, but what else, what is it about your core DNA that people are coming to you for?
Well, when I meet with clients, the first thing that I say, I mean, Lisa Mende is about telling your story. I don't want it to be a house that people walk in and say, Lisa did this house. You know, Lisa, I can tell Lisa Mende designed this
Yeah,
house.
yeah, sure.
Um, I do a deep dive, like I heard Ethan say the same thing, but I do a pretty intensive interview process with my clients. And I find out if they collect, if they have heirlooms, if they have an interest. I ask if there's something that they don't have in their house currently that they want. And then I kind of start the process of trying to read the person, and maybe I might throw out something that I think would emotionally appeal to them. And I basically describe what I do as casual luxe. And I want your house to feel like a home when you walk in. I don't want it to feel like a showroom, but
Sure.
I want it to feel like there's pieces of you woven throughout the house. I think that's what you and John do so well. When I walk in your house, I know you.
Well,
And I
thank
think
you. Thank
I
you.
think that's what my job is as a designer, is to do that for my clients. And you know, several years ago, I did a show house in Atlanta, and I had the mud room. And when you do a show house, as you know, when you don't have a client, you have to create that storyline. And I was like, what could this story be? So I walked out in the garage and I walked in the mudroom, and I thought, what would I feel if this was my home? And the thought was, there's no place like home. You know, when you've had a long day and you walk in the back door, you just breathe a sigh of relief and you think, there's no place like home. So I used Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, and I know you've seen it because I post it, you know, it gets posted a lot. Mark Boomershine painted this tremendous Dorothy for me and put as the focal point when you walked in the mud room. But the whole storyline was, there's no place like home. And I think when you're doing a client's house, you're looking for those attachments that they feel sentimental about, and they know when they walk in the door, it's their home. You know, it's not anyone else's, it's their home. And that's what I want my work to be for my clients.
And I think you obviously capture that exceptionally. But I think that there are designers out there that are kind of like the Louis Vuitton handbag, that if you want a bag that has the initials on it, you're buying it because you know when you walk in the door, you can say, oh, this was designed by, and I'm not saying that's an insecurity thing, but it looks like the designer, it doesn't look like you.
Yeah,
And those
exactly.
designers who say we're starting all over again and we're not incorporating pieces you have, or we're not, saving grandma's dining room table. It all has to be, clean slate, my way or the highway.
Right.
That I don't. To your point, I don't understand that, because it's you want to tell the client's story, not your story.
That's exactly right.
If you're
So,
just joining us, it's Cocktails by Design. We were talking to the amazingly talented Lisa Mende, who's at Lisa Mende, who's Lisa Mende Design on Instagram, and is a real superstar. And she's giving us some insight into her terrific world. So there you go. We're sponsored tonight by Coalition Kentucky Straight Rye Whiskey. It's Coalition Whiskey on Instagram. And we're also using Owen's craft mixers. Again, no one's paying me, but it's so nice that people are now sending me bottles of things in pretty bottles too, so I can put them out. So I don't have to bring out the pop-off and the plastic jug anymore. When I go to the ABC store. So, Lisa, somebody just said my designer just told me to ditch one of my collections, and I think that's a good. I think that's there you go. That designer is
no,
posing, because it's a conversation. It's not an imposition. It's not. We're not imposing. We're saying, how can we curate and how can we craft that conversation, not start over again?
Well, number one, it's your house and it's your collection. And it's her job. If she doesn't like your collection, it's her job to figure out a way to make your collection part of your home. And I think sometimes it's easier for people to say get rid of something because they can, start over and put whatever it is they want. But it's your house. And I think she should have come up with a creative way to show your collection.
I'm always amazed when I go to someone's home and I can tell that their accessories are all store-bought.
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
saying that there aren't great store-bought, obviously great store-bought accessories, but that someone has kind of, instead of picking up the paperweight in Murano and the funny little thing that grandma gave them in Florida, it doesn't have to be high-end, but that they have bought everything instead of saying, let's take all those great things that we've collected on our journey of life and
Right.
showcase them. I always that always makes me think that they're boring people.
Well, I think those things tell your story. And, I have every little piece of art my children ever made of clay in my kitchen on a shelf. And that brings me joy. And so if someone told me that it was tacky, I would say, well, it doesn't matter. It's mine. It's my children. It makes me
Right.
happy. That's your house should make you happy.
Right, absolutely, and I think that we've often we forget that. Or I grew up in a family where my grandparents wouldn't allow us into their living room, and it was, if you were allowed into the living room, it was covered in plastic.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well,
it's not how it goes.
I was not allowed to put posters in my room, so I had a poster of Donny Osmond inside my closet door.
Does that date us?
Yes. Me especially more than you. But
I think I think I had Wham.
I couldn't put anything like that out in my room. But my mother has wonderful taste, and she still is very particular about her interiors. And
Well, you really grew up, and you talk about your mom quite a lot. You really grew up in an environment where there were beautiful things.
yes, yes, she really is a gifted interior designer and not trained, did not go to school. It's just a natural ability that she has. And I've never seen anyone with the kind of spatial intelligence that she possesses. She can, in her mind, tell you exactly what pieces will fit everywhere in a room. And, I can do that now after years of design, but I couldn't do it without having so much experience, which,
So that was really innate to her.
yeah, but they have several homes. So she's decorated a lot of homes, and the last home they built is a cabin. We have a hunting preserve, and they have a cabin there that's like a 4-bedroom cabin. And she went somewhere, and I don't remember where, if it was Hickory, High Point, or where, but she went somewhere and furnished the whole house without even a set of plans. She just,
Isn't that amazing?
yeah, she just knew. So she's amazing.
Well, I
But
think
she's
that
also good at flowers and cooking, and she really truly was Martha Stewart before Martha
before
Stewart.
Martha.
Yeah.
Sure. And I'm when people make it that's so it seems it just comes naturally for them, and I think that's, and you make guests feel comfortable, and the flowers are wonderful. I think that idea of style.
I hear the snoring.
Oh yeah, that's Weenie and Cecil are on the sofa behind and they're snoring away.
Well, you have a very chic mother. Your mother's very chic.
I do have a very chic mom, and I, Friday night activity was rearranging the furniture, and I can remember her guest house. My parents live in Tampa, Florida. They live in Hyde Park, which is this great little walking neighborhood. We had a big 1920s Mediterranean style house, and I sold that and moved to this great bungalow. But the guest house, John and I refer to the guest house as Early Lois, because Lois is my mom, because
Right.
it's kind of where everything that she had has gone to die. So there was the Spanish revival period in the 70s. There was the Angelo Donghia period in the early 80s.
Yeah.
There was the Miramaco period. And she's pulled it all. The guest house is beautiful, and we've
Oh, it sounds like it.
but it is kind of an amalgam of the last 40 years there's a Dakota Jackson table, and not
Oh
saying that
wow.
that stuff is out of vogue, but it's I can remember buying the Dakota Jackson table in 1987. I can remember that the Spanish chairs came into play in 1974. I
Right.
remember the Marimekko in 1970. So those kind of things. So I think like you, I grew up in an environment where my parents were the first kids in their family to go to college, but they we're always passionate about food and cooking and good living, and really exposed us to entertaining. They constantly had dinner parties for 30, 50. And John, and my brother Justin, and my sister Alice, we learned how to talk to people.
And
We learned
entertain.
how to serve,
Yeah.
and I think that a Southern tradition that I'm noticing, that when we go to people's homes in the South and their kids are there, they will bring the kids out to say hello and introduce themselves, and then they go back to their room. And I don't think our northern friends would ever do that.
No. And it depends on the family as well. Because I know in our family, the kids are included, the little kids, until it's bedtime.
And I love that. And I think that
Mhm.
why shouldn't they be? But kids need to learn to have a conversation, to ask questions, or
Well, they
to
go, our little kids are taught to go take someone's coat and put it up, or their, purse if they want to put it up. And then they go ask if they can help. I mean, they're really I don't have grandchildren, but my brothers do. And their children are all so well behaved and just, they're always included and until bedtime. So
and I
I
love
think it's
that.
teaching them.
I would, if I had kids, I would not give them technology until I had to.
Well, I did all those
Maybe that's
things.
easier said than done,
I
right?
did all those things I said I would never do. And Walker was my oldest child. And when he was born, I was determined that he was not going to have candy. He had carob cupcakes for his first birthday. He, I was determined he was going to be so healthy. I made baby food and froze it and all those things that no one,
How Diane Keaton of you in Baby Boom.
no one did any of that way back then. And Walker was in an accident back in 2009, and I got in his Tahoe at that weekend, and on the dashboard, on the console, were Almond Joy wrappers, Reese cups. I think when you try to take things from a child, they're determined it must be the best thing in the world then. So I think I would reverse it and not make it quite as with the other kids. I didn't do that, and none of them seem obsessed with candy.
Yeah, your kids are all seem to be wearing Peter Pan collars today. No, I'm kidding.
No, not my kids.
Lisa, talk to me about. Did you ever have a moment about with interiors? Did you ever have a moment where you said, "Is this an advanced hobby or is this a business?"
Um, I think when I took my break after Walker died, and I met Toby, it was kind of like, am I going to keep working or not work anymore? I didn't think of it as a hobby because I had gone to school for that. It wasn't like I was a frustrated housewife that just decided to start doing interior design. I wasn't that. Because I had gone to design school, and I went back to design school as a second degree.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was serious. I mean, when I was in design school, if I didn't make a straight A, hell was going to freeze over. And the traditional students didn't like me so much which I mean, I was friends with most of them, but I'm just saying they were like, oh God, here comes, a 30-year-old who's going to blow everything because she's going to overproduce. And so I was always serious about it. But when I went to work in Mastermind with Toby, I was with a lot of other designers like Denise McGahey and Tracy Zeller,
And
Kara Cox.
this is Toby Fairley, who has done these mastermind classes for many years.
But she's not doing a mastermind now, I don't think. But I did mastermind with her for 2 years and met lots of designers, friends who are now really friends across the country. And we depend on each other. If I'm working on a proposal and I'm not sure how to price it, I might ask Tracy or Kara or Denise, or, we kind of
It's a nice
support each
network.
other.
Yeah.
And now Dana Walter, we're in Design Leadership Network together, and we've become good friends. And so there's a lot of people out there that you've been a great resource for me when I ask you.
And likewise.
And so I feel like I've never felt like it was a hobby.
And I don't mean hobby. I think I mean, did you always feel like you were making enough money?
I did.
Okay.
I
Good.
did. I felt like I was making great money. I feel like in the last few years, it's been much harder to make money than ever with all the online sales and people thinking that they're getting a deal if they buy it online because it might be $100 cheaper than what you quoted them. And when I explained to them, okay, fine, if you buy that, basically in my contract, I have a clause that says if I design the project and they decide not to procure with me, they can walk away. They don't have to procure with me, but I own the design, and they can't, claim ownership to it. And I get to control that part of it. But they can procure it if they want to. But if they're working with me and they want to go outside of what I've proposed price-wise for furnishings, then I do one of two things. I either tell them, which I was going to say is in my contract, whatever percentage I am charging them for procurement, they have to pay me for that piece anyway. And
Sure.
or I completely walk away from it, that piece, and you own it. And if it comes in damaged, that's your red wagon. And if it's something like lighting and the builder needs it on a certain date and it's not here, then, I don't want to be I don't want to be a hard ball player with that kind of thing. I want my clients to feel appreciated and valued, but I also don't want someone shopping me continually, because then I don't think they're respecting me. So
I don't think that consumers understand that you're not a buying service, and that you are making sure that there are none of those errors, that when they go out on their own, and that old adage of you buy quality, you cry once.
Right.
That when the seam in the middle of the room or the curtain panels are too long, or, oh, gee, we don't have a receiving warehouse and this is coming to me. How does that happen? How does that work?
Right.
When I have to explain to clients, well, the reason everything goes to storage is so that it can be taken from freight, then delivered to you on the day. And the number of times people get up in arms about storage, and I'm saying, well, that's how it works.
Well, clients need designers more than ever because the procurement process has gotten so hard during COVID with things not coming in. I have dining room chairs right now that the delivery time has changed 7 times. We've been waiting 7 months for those chairs. And, I understand what the companies are dealing with, and I have the utmost sympathy for them. But the client is who I'm working for. And if the client says enough is enough, then we make a move. But in that particular situation, I bought them chairs and put around their table so they have something while they're waiting, because I really want those chairs. And they were appreciative of that, and they're willing to wait because they have something to sit on.
Yeah, something and maybe you're finding this as well, we're really mostly making things because we know we can create great designs, but I know I can control the experience and I can control the production cycle a bit more than being a number in a production line.
Oh yeah, I know a lot of designers, well, not a lot, but I know a few designers that are reupholstering pieces.
Or finding vintage pieces, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
they're reupholstering because they can get that done.
The foam is there.
Yeah. Yeah, the foam's there. So, I mean, I think it's going to level out soon. I really do.
I want to buy some lumber, so I'm just hoping that it's not going to be 4 times what it was a year and a half ago.
I think lumber's coming back down now.
Is it? Okay.
Hmm.
All
I
right.
really do.
I'm going to wrap this up in a minute, but tell us about your Instagram. You're so good about promoting other people and building that community, and everyone in the industry loves you. Some people in the industry like me. Most think I'm an asshole, but everyone
I
seems to
do
love you
not.
really well. You are just so good about kind of telling your own story as well as other people's. Where would you like to see the Lisa Mende design brand and I'm just kind of looping Instagram into that. Where would you like to see the Lisa Mende brand in 3 years?
Well, Jason, I think all the time about what you said to me one time recently. You said, stop promoting other people and work on your own brand.
Oops.
And I thought, you know what? You're just exactly right. And I do need to. However, my brand was built on promoting other people. I started out that way with the blog I had way back
And
when.
the blog was so successful.
Well, the blog was hugely successful and I just walked away from it. I was tired of blogging. But I have a new blog that's called The Design Connector, which is connecting you to the products, people, and places in the design industry. And it's part of my website. And we, in August, finally, because of all the mess that we've had, we're finally starting the renovation. Well, the kitchen renovation has started, but I had planned for the last 3 years to do the Design Connector as a vlog. I was going to do video blogging and take people through the process of my house, which when I started that, no one was doing, and now a lot of people are doing it. But I'm still going to do it because I promised. But, we had water damage in our house and we fought with insurance for almost 2 years.
Wow.
And when we finally settled with insurance, we were getting ready to start and COVID hit. And so we had to wait. And then once things loosened up with COVID, we had to wait for the contractor. And we are working now on the kitchen and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a little different. So I don't know why my screen keeps going dark, but anyway, so in getting back to your question, I've been working on some things in the back that you'll see soon.
Good.
And so we have.
Could you give us, is that perhaps a product, something?
Yes, there will be some products. And I also have been working for a while on some things on my website that people can access for a fee, and hoping that can happen maybe September. I've been working on that for a good while. So
that's the future online classes, I think.
I've been working on that. It should have launched last year and didn't. And so I'm working on that. I get a lot of inquiries from people who want me to consult with them or want to pick my brain and that kind of thing. And it was turning into so many hours a week that I decided that maybe I just need to do these different things that people can access when they want them. Like for instance, I get asked, how do you do a show house? And I have a whole document that explains it.
Oh, wow.
I also, several years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, I did a Lisa Mende Guide to Shop in High Point Market and never published it. I was going to do it on my website for a fee. And someone else did that. And she's been very successful and someone I really like. And I told this friend was going to High Point and she bought that guide and she asked me if I had any recommendations. And I said, well, just under the table, I'm going to send you the guide I did a couple years ago. And she was like, "Oh my God, you need to publish this. It's amazing." And so she gave me the confidence to go ahead and do it. So I think I probably will have that as a piece.
I
And
love that. I love
I have
that.
several other things. So I think, we all have opinions and we all can have input. And I think we learn from each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I think it's always that idea of evolving
Yeah.
and obviously looking at new revenue streams and thinking different and having some fun. So I'm gonna wrap up with a speed round.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Favorite fragrance?
Um, um, oh
I
God.
obviously didn't give Lisa these questions, so sorry.
No, and I have this one I wear all the time, and it's Maison Louis Marie.
Perfect. Vodka or gin? I think it's gin now, based on our.
I love vodka too. I mean, it's a split. And gin in the summer for sure, but a good vodka tonic with a strong twist of lime is pretty good too. But
Pretty
I like Kettle One vodka.
favorite color
Aqua.
is what?
Aqua.
Aqua. There we go. 80s music or jazz?
Um, Depends on my mood. I
Or
prefer,
Puppy Love by Donny Osmond.
and they call it puppy love.
Puppy Love.
I can't sing. That's what I'm gonna do when I get to heaven. I'm gonna sing.
Are you a good singer?
Uh-uh.
Okay, me neither.
That's why I said when I get to heaven. That's
Well, I didn't know if that was because you're so good at it that they,
Well,
Peter
no.
will say, come to the left.
Well, Saint Peter will say, "What do you want in heaven?" Because that in heaven you can be anything you want, and I want to be a singer. I want to sound. I want to be able to sing like Amy Winehouse.
I miss Amy Winehouse.
I do
She was
too.
kind of the last of the really good ones. Favorite destination?
Uh,
Place or hotel?
I love Paris. I love St. John and Nevis. I don't have a favorite. I like to travel, and depending on the time of year and what's going on. But I did stay at the Dorchester in London, November 2019, and it was absolutely fabulous.
It's pretty great, right?
Yeah.
Did you know there's an Oliver Messel suite up at the top, and we had written them, and they let us when we were staying there one time. They let us come up and give it a tour.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember you posted about that.
Yeah, you're kind. That was many years ago. So, how about favorite interior designer of the past? I'm going to say for us, it's a mix of Nancy Lancaster, Elsie DeWolf, and I don't know.
I love Tony Duquette.
Yeah.
He was so dramatic. Not only did he do interior design, but jewelry and stage design, for movies and that kind of thing. I love his drama and just the gorgeousness of color. And I haven't been to Stone Ridge. I would like to go. I know Hutton design, he had to use new things because I think everything got sold after the Duquettes died. But I love him. I love David Hicks and his beautiful self, and
Yeah.
the life that he lived just had to be so amazing, not only because of what he did, but who he was, and just the fact that he designed his wife's hairstyle. I just it's like
And it hasn't, and Pamela's hair hasn't changed in 50 years.
no, but I love that. And I think what I love about the iconic designers of the past was what I strive to do. And sometimes I think I fail miserably at it. But I think that if you love design, design is everything. It's your home, it's the hardware on your cabinetry, it's the sheets that you climb into bed at night. I mean, it's the whole enchilada, and that's what they were so good at doing.
Yep, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite piece of furniture in your home?
The dining table that I inherited from my mother's sister, Aunt Betty, it is from Europe. It is 1700s. It has
Wow.
oyster inlay on the top of the table, and supposedly a wood from every continent that during that time, and it was attributed to Sir William Kent, but
Wow.
I sent pictures to Sotheby's, and they don't think it is Sir William Kent because it adjusts. It opens to a perfect square. It's a rectangle that opens to a square, and but they want to see it. So I
Well,
think
if it's a William Kent, you can retire and buy a small island.
I know it is quite amazing. The base is gilt, heavy gilt. It's a beautiful piece. It would
And
be the
is this the dining room table that you use in your home?
yes.
How exceptional! And the chairs. What kind of chairs do you pair with it?
The chairs came with the table, and they are earlier than the table. But my aunt owned a home in Blowing Rock called Greystone Manor, and it was built by the Mebbins, who the town of Mebane is named for.
Sure.
And Mrs. Mebane went to Europe to buy all the furnishings for the house, and she was quite the marksman. She hunted with Annie Oakley, and pretty
Ah,
amazing. But when I went there to stay, the first time I slept in a bedroom with horsehair mattresses. And I had never done that before. So it was quite interesting. But lots of fun things from that house. I have lots of pieces from, well, not lots, but I have a few pieces from that house. And one of the most fun things I have from there was when I was a child, we were playing in the attic, and I found a Eleanor Roosevelt's autobiography, and I opened it, and it was signed by Eleanor Roosevelt. And so I asked my aunt if I could have it, and she said sure. So it's in my library.
oh, how great to have between your mom and your Aunt Betty to have grown up with these environments.
Yeah, I did.
Florals or geometrics or both?
Both mixed.
Right, baby. That's right. Dinner party or dinner out?
Dinner party once my house is finished. Dinner out right now. Unless you want to eat in the courtyard, which is kind of nice.
And your
But
courtyard is exceptional.
it's fun.
The
It's fun.
fountain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you love the
Yeah.
house?
The fountain was designed. This is a funny story, and I know we need to wrap up, but so I'll make it quick. But we bought the house, and we needed someone to come in and work on the courtyard because it was kind of a little tired. And I made the statement, I wish the original designer who designed it could come and do it. And he has since died. His name's John Bird. And so we contacted this guy through a friend. She recommended him, and he shows up at my door, and he said, "Oh, I helped build this. I worked for John Bird." And he said, "Did you realize your courtyard fountain, the koi pond, is based on Elton John's fountain in his home in London, and it's a tree. And the ledges of the fountain are the limbs, and the base, the koi pond comes out, and it has a round base which has a diffuser." And I never would have known that. And the homeowner didn't. I wrote her, and the original homeowner, and said, "Did you know this?" And she said, "No, I had never heard that."
Isn't that great? What a small world that the
Yep.
energy was out there and that was reeled in.
Yep.
I love that. Lisa, we're going to be in Charlotte tomorrow. We took you up we're having lunch with an old friend, so we're going to Cafe Monde. So thank you for
Oh,
your
good. I love the
and
asparagus shrimp crepe.
and we're having dinner at a place called Bell Acres.
Oh, yay. Oh, that's old time fun.
Perfect.
Yeah,
That's
you'll
it.
enjoy that.
Yay.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa, what a delight. You've been such a good friend. You're such a talent. And it's nice to see that you have so much going on in your world. So again, if you aren't following Lisa Mende Design, hop on over there. and follow her. And Lisa, I know you're so busy, so thank you for taking the time tonight.
I love
Really
you, Jason,
great.
and
Pleasure.
tell John that I hope to see you both very, very soon.
Well, we'd love to have you come up to High Point. Not that it's that exciting, but come up.
I'm
and
so
come and
excited
spend a
about
night or two.
I'm so excited about all the things you're doing, and we didn't even talk about any of that. But before
Good.
we go, can you tell me a bit about the new stick-on wallpaper you're doing?
Yeah, so we're doing that with York, and it's going to be coming out in the fall. So I'm putting a lot of teasers out there, and people keep saying, is this stuff available? And I keep saying, no, but be patient. All of our fabrics and the wallpapers that we're doing in-house are relaunching at Labor Day, and those will be in a couple different showrooms. And the York Peel and Stick is launching, I think it's maybe 20 SKUs, and it's great for rental properties. It's great for anybody who doesn't want to necessarily hire a wallpaper hanger. You can move it, and so it's great. But we're really having some fun, and it's big colors, big scale, and some really good, to your point, some really good geometrics that connect them. But it has all of that kind of wonderful peel and stick qualities. And then we have a whole bunch, like you, we have a whole bunch of other things. We're doing a children's line with Beaufort Bonnet Company, and gifts.
Beaufort Bonnet.
But you know, like you, it's me and John. It's a very small team.
Beaufort Bonnet Company.
Beaufort Bonnet Company.
Beaufort. Beaufort is South Carolina.
I know. I can't pronounce this stuff, you know.
But also wanted to ask you, where's your tile going to be sold?
So that's with Country Floors. So that's either at the Country Floor showrooms or online, but they also own Marble Systems. So there are Marble System showrooms all over the country.
Awesome.
So they did a line with Sister Parish last year, and then we're their second.
That's awesome.
We're their second license. So
and I love your furniture with Newport.
Thank you. We're kind of taking that in a direction. We're launching some upholstery, but we're trying to, you know, as many things as we can do in-house now and really control that experience.
Right.
Because I think the designers think that licensing is easy and it's going to make you a lot of money. And as
no,
you know, it's not easy, and it doesn't make you any money.
No.
And so if you can control it, and you can have, you know, for us, it's more important to have great salespeople than it is necessary perhaps to do market, because I'd rather have salespeople out there than me standing in a booth hoping people will come to me.
Absolutely.
So I think we've kind of, like you, we kind of always are rethinking the model.
Right.
And having some fun. And I don't want to be doing this when I'm 65. So the money better start coming in soon.
Well, you know, what we've got to do, Jason, is we have to create things that make money while we sleep. That's what
passive, hence things like online classes. Passive income.
Or any way we can help other people, I think, is, you know, what really makes a difference for everyone. And
I think what comes around goes around.
It does. But I just love everything you're doing. And
well, mutual, and you're a great friend. So everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. Lisa, it has been such a pleasure. We have a fun guest next week. We have Julianne Bradley of Bunny Bradley.
Awesome.
Sure to follow her. She does amazing toiletry bags and jewelry rolls and totes, and is based in Austin, just outside of Austin, Texas, and is doing some really fun things in a space that, you know, you can't really necessarily find really interesting smaller bags made out of designer fabrics. So she's joining us next week for kind of a different perspective on product and where her head is with developing great product lines. So Lisa, a pleasure. Enjoy your cocktail, and I will toast you with that amazing gin. And thank you for thinking of us and gift. That's so thoughtful. And we're signing off.
Just add grapefruit slices and raspberries, and you'll enjoy. And lots of ice.
Olé!
Cheers!
Cheers. Bye, Lisa. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in.